Good morning, everyone. The suggestion here is that the human child is born, and for a while there's no sense of identity. There's an openness, complete openness. That's just what seems to be happening. It's very simple. And for a while, for a couple of years or whatever, it is like that. And then for no reason at all, a contracted energy seems to arise in the body. And when it arises, there's a sense of something happening for the first time in the body. And that brings a sense of me. That brings a sense of self-awareness. What's happening in this body? And self-awareness arises. And thereafter, the child feels that it is a something. It is someone. It is someone in the whole. Rather than being just the whole, it's a feeling of being someone or something in the whole, to which everything is happening. And the child grows up in a world like that and meets other people who also feel the same thing. And so it comes to live in a dualistic world, in a dualistic reality. And most people in the world live in a dualistic reality. And as it grows, so it has to deal with the world it's living in a dualistic way. And it's very much a subject-object experience. Everything that's happening is happening to me, and I have to deal with what's happening and try and make it work for me in my life. And of course, as far as the child is concerned, as it goes, everything that's happening to it seems real. The great illusion is that the world is real, I am real, free will and choice is real, all that's happening is real. And that's the great illusion. And time is real, the journey is real, the story leading to somewhere else better is real. And of course all of this is confirmed by my own personal experience. So the child, as it grows, becomes more of a person, lives in the experience. It experiences everything. It is an experiencer. That's how it is. And it grows with other people in the world, and everybody else is like that. So it reconfirms the idea that this experience of the reality is normal and true and real. But some people feel dissatisfied by that sense of separation, because of course now the person is here and everything else that's happening is happening separately to this person. It's coming and happening to them as an experience. And that feeling of being separate from the whole, because everything seems real, is dissatisfying. And people try to feel better by having better experiences. All the many things you see people doing are all about gathering in experiences to feel better. Some people turn to religion, some people could turn to psychology or therapy or that sort of thing, and they also turn to religion to have even better experiences because they feel that somehow religion is spiritual, therefore it's good, and I should have a good experience. So they indulge in that sort of experience, and it's all the same thing. It's all simply a distraction which keeps them in the world of the me, because the one thing that they long for is absence, and the one thing they fear more than anything else is their own personal absence. So everything that's happening in them, in their world, distracts them from the sense of the possibility of being absent. That's really frightening. So they're always filling their life with all sorts of different experiences. They go round in a wheel every day, and there's this experience and that experience. But even with religious, even being involved in the religious world, it's still another distraction, which is dissatisfying in the end. And all of that seeking comes from a subject-object experience. So all of the seeking is made totally futile by the objectification of the idea of awakening, spiritual enlightenment, or whatever you call it. All of those things that seeker is trying to find or discover or own, they are all simply they are simply objects in the world that like everything else, like wealth or whatever, is something that they can have and own and discover and have for themselves. So the whole aspect for the seeker is utterly and completely and wonderfully futile. I say wonderfully because somewhere in that futility arises another possibility, the idea that there might be another possibility, which is completely beyond everything that's going on, the seeking and so on. And that's what we're here talking about. What we're here talking about is another possibility, which I described last night, and that is that there simply already is completion. This is already complete. There is no one. There's nothing to find. There's nowhere to go. Already, this is wholeness. That's the other possibility. But the seeker can't find that possibility because you can't objectify the nothing and the everything. It can't be objectified. It can't be described. It can't be known. It can't be understood. None of this will ever be understood. It is absolutely beyond comprehension. It is this already. So as I said last night, we can talk together, and we will probably talk about all sorts of things. But essentially, what's going on here is beyond words. The words are a carrier. The words are a motor or a vehicle within which something else arises, which is energetic. And that energy has nothing to do with anyone because there isn't anyone. There's no one here at all. And so that energy of contraction that's felt that keeps the individual in this narrow reality which seems to be true to them, it is possible that contraction simply melts into the boundlessness, which it already is. Even the contraction is still no thing arising as something that is apparently happening, but it is in that form of contraction that it seems to affect the person. But it's possible that contraction, and it does seem to happen more and more, simply melts into the whole. It can't be described. And when it happens, it's absolutely astounding. What's astounding about it is that it's so simple and completely ordinary. When this first saw that, the thing that was stunning was how ordinary it was. Ordinary, simple and free. Wow. Wow. And the other thing that happened here is when that was seen, not even seen, when there was nothing else, and it simply was this, there was an absolute recognition that I could never tell anybody else, or nobody could ever tell anybody else anything like this. And I do get people calling me, and they say, I can't tell anybody this. This is the one secret. This is the one secret that can't be told. It can't be described. I can't tell my wife. And Tony, I know I've listened to you, but I can't even tell you what this is. It's stunning. It's simple and ordinary and natural.
Tony, possible that others, they are
Nobody experiences the seeker. There is no one. This has nothing to do with anyone. The whole revelation is that there is no one. There is nothing but this. The beloved is all there is. Nobody experiences it. If somebody experiences it, they are one, somebody experiencing something else too. That's true. They're back in the fraud separation. It can be glimpsed. A glimpse can arise of this for no one. Nobody has a glimpse. And then there seems to be a return to the dualistic experience.
Tony,
Really?
what I loved the introduction, but at the end, what was amazing was how you were just describing it as ordinary. But for some reason, obviously the me can't let go of its seeking and its hope and building it into some grand fantasy of what it will be like. And it only seems natural to the me that there has to be some great effort involved because it's going to get this big at the end of it all. So
that's what most seekers think. They think they're looking for something so grand that they have to climb dozens of mountains before they can find it. And it's quite natural because, of course, don't forget, most people have lived their lives in a situation where they believe that what has happened to them has happened through their choice. So if they're successful or if they're a failure, they still believe that's their own making. Therefore, they believe that this also has to be of their own making. And that keeps the whole thing going. That keeps that. The other thing is that the me will do anything to avoid this. You could call it the me for the sake of simplicity. It goes on and on avoiding this by seeking it. In a way, there's almost a subconscious sense that if I go on seeking, I'll survive, because seeking is endless. If suddenly seeking falls away, life falls away, I will die, and there won't be anything left. So there's a real deep fear of it. So the idea that I can go on and on making more and more effort is very attractive to the seeker.
But it has to invent a picture of what it's looking for as being something special, because it already rejects what's happening by feeling like it's not enough.
It's always looking for something special, and in a subtle sort of way it thinks it is special itself. And those two can
But I can't help projecting onto you that you're special as well.
Yeah, of course, because as far as most people are concerned, I'm still a person. Most people can't still see anything other than another person talking about them. So that would then, if I'm sitting here in front of you, talking to you, and I'm quite well known and so on in this field, and somewhere, then you can make me a special person.
And also when I feel resonance, even though you don't take the messages, so I think it's because Tony, Thanks, Tony.
Hi, Tony. You did mention just now that there's no seeking, but listening to some of your, past discussions, you were seeking for quite a bit of time.
But there is apparent seeking. Everything is only apparent. Nothing is real. So the seeking that goes on is apparent, it's an appearance. It is nothing arising in the form of seeking.
But do you think the seeking you had with Osho and others did play a part before?
No, nothing plays a part. 16 Oshos and 15 Bhagawans or all of the other people. That has nothing to do with this, and also the individual has nothing to do with this. This has nothing to do with anyone, because there isn't anyone. And there isn't anything. There are no circumstances that bring this about. There can't be any circumstances to bring this about, because it already is. Why would there have to be something that would bring it about? This is it. This is the beloved. It doesn't happen because of, it is already the beloved. You're sitting in it, you're breathing it, you're hearing it.
All right, coming back again to it, to nail it, even if we look at it energetically, right? So there are three energies, the tamasic, the rajasic, and the... So is it cleansing so that the energies could be receptible for it?
It's so typically a seeky sort of language, cleansing, leading towards something. There is nothing to lead towards, there is nothing to approach. There's an organisation called the Direct Approach. We are the Direct Approach. How do you directly approach that which already is? How do you get nearer to that which already is? The very steps you take, the very attempt you get, is also the beloved.
Thank you for annihilating everything.
You said there's not direct approach because we're already there, but somehow I feel separate.
You feel separate.
Because I don't recognize it.
No, of course it can't be recognised. But what I'm talking about can't be recognised or attained or understood. It's completely beyond all of that. It's not available. You'll never get it. Nobody in this room will ever get it, because actually there isn't anybody in this room. But there are apparent individuals who believe they are real, sitting in this room thinking they're going to get something.
Is it inclusive, Tony?
Sorry?
Is it inclusive, Tony, if you speak in that way? Where people
No, there is no one, but there are apparent people in there.
There's nothing we can do.
No, it's just that there's nothing you can do. It's far worse than that.
Hi, Tony. That's a lot louder. There appears to be a baby in my home. She's 9 months old. And she's very open still. She's not yet in this dualistic state. Is it really unavoidable for her also to be trapped in this experience, kind of treadmill?
Is it avoidable? No.
Yeah.
Because then there would be a choice to avoid it.
Yeah.
Or there would be a choice by the parent to try and prevent a child from experiencing it. All of that implies that there is someone with a choice and there isn't.
There,
All there is nothing apparently happening.
Sorry.
This is nothing apparently happening.
Yeah.
And the parents with the child are nothing apparently happening.
And there's also no good reason for this dualistic.
There's no reason for it at all. It's completely and utterly meaningless.
Okay.
Utterly, beautifully meaningless. Meaning and purpose need time. There is no real time. There's an appearance of time. But for a meaning to be realised, it has to happen in time. There is time.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Tony. Here. I believe that I'm here.
Oh. Of course. Most people do, it's a belief. It's a sense, it's a feeling of being, that contracted energy brings self-awareness. But belief that you're an individual follows that in a way, because a belief is more in the brain.
But I also feel that there's something here.
Which goes on reinforcing the belief that you are a real person.
Yeah.
Join the queue.
Someone else?
You say this feeling can be reinforced.
Sorry?
The feeling of being here, you just said it can be reinforced.
Yeah.
But as it can be reinforced, can be...
But you don't reinforce it. It's what apparently happens, the reinforcement of the sense of me. Of the sense of presence, the sense of being someone separate.
As it can be reinforced, apparently.
Well, there is no, because me has no choice. Me is simply an appearance. Me is simply nothing appearing as an apparently separate individual. But it has no choice of any kind. But the reinforcement of that sense of being a separate individual apparently happens. But nobody does it. They think they do, but they don't.
So then we cannot be disidentified neither, then. Not being identified with it. We cannot do things to not identify with this me.
Well, the me, the individual is identified by its own individuality. It feels very strongly that it is an individual, a separate individual.
So I cannot undo that.
No, you can't do it and you can't undo it. There isn't anyone. There is no choice. All there is, and you're going to hear this a lot, a great deal, all there is nothing apparently happening. Apparently happening.
So what does apparently mean?
And it's an appearance. This is only an appearance. There's nothing happening at all, but there appears to be something happening. So I don't know another word that's as good as appearance. It isn't. Nothing is real. There is nothing that's real, but nothing can appear to be happening. This is nothing appearing to be people in a room. This is an appearance of a room.
So appearance exists?
Well, no. Well, it happens. Exists is a word I don't... Everything that appears seems to exist. Obviously.
Nothing really obvious here.
Yeah.
And everything.
Hi Tony. So there's been a lot of glimpses of this, but I still feel like a me, and I would consider myself highly neurotic. There's a lot of fears and anxieties and all that stuff that comes out of apparent separation. At the point of the death of the contracted energy,
Only the apparent death.
the apparent death, is there a huge letting go of a lot of neurosis?
No. You're turning it into an event. It doesn't happen. Actually, when the me when the whole illusion of being separate is no more, it's seen it never was. So it isn't something that happens. You're not very separate as an individual and suddenly bang! There is only this. There is only this, and within this arises sense of being separate.
So you wouldn't, if it's not a point, wouldn't you say there's a huge relaxation in the...
There can be a relaxation in the body,
Psychological,
but that's nothing, that's simply part of the chemistry of what seems to happen. All the time there's a sense of being an individual in a separate world. There's a feeling of threat. There's a feeling of fear and threat. There's a feeling that the individual is threatened in a lot of ways. And so it lives in a sort of tension a lot of the time through awareness. It is tense and on guard. When that apparent happening is no more, only apparent, obviously there isn't any fear. In that sense, there isn't a fear or a tension of being on guard. Fear can still arise, but it doesn't arise for anyone anymore. But the tension of being on guard against what might happen is no more, because there's anybody to be on guard.
When you say fear can still arise, you mean in terms of just...
Well, in the whole.
If...
This is apparently nothing arising and happening, and in that everything that seems to be happening, which is nothing, appearing as everything, obviously because it's everything, fear can arise. In the individual's case, that can be embraced by the individual, and they experience that energy of fear for themselves. They take ownership of it. They take ownership of everything because they believe they are real. When that is no more, fear just arises and there isn't anything that takes ownership of it. It's just no thing. It's the beloved happening in that form.
The problem for me as well is you can't just tell it to let go and not be on guard.
Yeah.
Because it really feels like it makes sense, like anything could happen to me at any point and I've got to be prepared because I don't know what... And yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Tony. Isn't the me in a terrible bind? Because is the me in a terrible bind, dilemma?
Yeah.
Because
apparently,
it wishes for its absence, but at the same time it fears its death.
It's frightened.
It's frightened of it. So, you know, it'll seek its absence, but at the same time, it can never get there because it's terribly frightened.
There isn't there to get to.
Hi, Tony. So yesterday evening I had a couple of beers with some of the participants here. I had a couple of beers with the participants. And also some wine.
Oh.
And Joey gave me salami. And so you're telling me this didn't happen?
It only apparently happened. That's different to it didn't happen.
And I still have to pay the bills.
Everything is in prayer.
Tony, when you say apparently, does that mean it's not real?
There is nothing that is real, except in the individual experience. The individual experience is everything is real. I am real, you are real, the world is real. In the natural reality, there is nothing that is real. Everything is only nothing appearing to be there. Whatever you're looking at the moment is nothing appearing to be there.
So is nothing real?
No, nothing is nothing. It doesn't have any qualities. And yet it is every quality. Well, simultaneously.
Does that also mean that the nothing is, it's not that it doesn't exist?
I think the term exists is a peculiar one. I don't understand what it means, doesn't exist. Nothing is everything, and so it appears to happen. That's all I can say. I think that somebody there.
Is it working? When you say it's nothing, yeah, it's working. You say nothing is real. Is that something to do with language? Because our language is rooted in like an old understanding about.
It's quite limited, our language. It tends to be.
Yeah.
To lean towards dualism.
Yeah, because you have to kind of use a peculiar language to describe what you're saying.
You don't have to, but that's what happens.
Yeah. Okay.
And don't forget, all of this is really not very important. It's a vehicle for something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, all of it is nothing. Nothing can't be comprehended, but at the same time, nothing is also everything.
When you say nothing is real, it kind of means that there's no like
No,
subject.
I didn't say nothing is real. I said nothing is nothing.
So is there anything real?
No, I have already said that.
Yeah.
But I don't mind saying 16 more times. Only.
So what would be the meaning of real, reality? What's the meaning of real?
It's an experience that only the separate individual seems to have. And the experience is that I am real, and therefore, because I am real, everything else is real. It would be very difficult to describe what real means, but that's the nearest word I can get to it, being that everything is real and is really happening. There is a real time, there is a real purpose, there is a story, there is a real past. You know, obviously the world's been going on for thousands of years, it's believed. But for the individual, that's an absolute fact. The world has been around for millions of years. Whereas actually it's only the beloved appearing to be a world that's been around for millions of years.
Thank you.
The idea that anything is real only arises in the experience of the individual.
Yeah.
It's not even a thing. The idea of real is not real.
Thank you. He's got a big beard too.
So is it a story, even a pure story?
It's only there's another word you could use for it.
said there's no free will. Can you unpack that a little bit based on what we could kind of understand that it's our minds?
Well, there is, but the whole, there being no free will comes from the obvious appearance that there is no one. There is no one. So how could there be a free will?
Could mind be the same energy?
No, there is no one means there is no separate mind or individuality or choice of any kind.
So the mind is not emerging from the energy that you speak about, which is nothing.
The mind is just another appearance of nothing. It's an apparently functioning appearance of nothing.
How do we get to know?
You don't. I don't. It is not known. It is unknown. Or what you talk about here can't be known. If it could be known, you'd need somebody to know it. And there isn't anyone.
So I don't know how to ask you the question then.
That's all right. Well, in the end, of course, you run out of questions. There isn't anything. But the questions and answer structure are, as I say, just a vehicle for unconditional love. Which is the same saying for the everything and the nothing. The boundless and the contracted energy.
Yeah, but when you speak to it, you're originating
No, I'm not.
From that place.
I am nothing. I don't originate. How can I originate?
No, your words.
I'm already everything and nothing.
But whatever you're saying here at this moment.
There isn't a moment. This is what's apparent happening.
Yes.
Apparent.
So no time, no space, right? The moment you have time and space, all this originates.
There can be an appearance of time and space. There appears to be a space between us. And it seems to be happening in time. And I've been told at 11 o'clock we have to stop and have coffee. That's just a story. It's completely and utterly meaningless.
So how do we step back?
We don't.
Away?
There's no how.
Okay.
How doesn't arise in here. You're not allowed to say how.
Come on, indulge us, Tony. I said, come on, indulge us. How do we get to where you are?
How can I tell anybody if there's no one here? See, I use the word how. There isn't anyone here. So what's the point of trying to describe how nobody can get to nowhere? When already this is already it. Or nothing.
Means you're already there.
Well, you aren't. Everybody else is in you.
My experience, coming to you was always like, well, he's navigating in that reality of one. Well, I'm just telling you how I misinterpreted absolutely what you said for years. And he's navigating in that reality, so I come here and ask him questions. So to tell me what it's like so I can find out that it's safe. So it's safe to operate in the same, so I can take a warm bath in that reality and live the way he does.
Yeah. Okay.
Total nonsense.
Yeah. But thank you for telling him.
Yeah. Completely misunderstood for a decade what he's saying. Probably still misunderstanding it right now.
How do you live, Tony? He just mentioned the way you live. So how do you live?
How do I live? I don't live. Life happens. So eating breakfast, getting out of bed happens. Getting dressed happens. Eating breakfast happens. And they're just all what apparently happens. There is only nothing apparently happening. And none of it has any meaning. In that way, it's utter and complete freedom. There's nothing here that's concerned about this. There's nothing here with an agenda about what's going on here. Nothing at all. There's no intention, there's no idea of getting somewhere, there's no idea of pleasing people or displeasing people. There's nothing here. It's freedom.
Tony, do you have likes and dislikes? Do you have any likes, dislikes, desires?
I don't, but there are preferences built into the DNA before birth in the appearance, which arise in the body.
So you call those preferences?
Pasta, I like music, certain fast cars, fast women, no, don't. There's just certain things that, but they aren't anybody's, they're what's apparently happening.
Is that the difference between like and dislike and preferences, that you call it preferences because it rises and falls, and we call it because we are attached?
I'm not sure I heard that, but it's not the same as the experience of an individual that wants one thing or doesn't want another. That's associated usually with separation.
So preferences
there isn't anything
arise.
here that wants or doesn't want anything. There is no need. Everything is fulfilled. Why would there be need? Everything is beloved. Why would there be need? Wow.
Hi Tony. I was talking to Jim Newman in Austria, and I said to him, he was coming to see you for 2 years and he apparently fell away, and there's other people that come to see you for longer and didn't. I said to him, why is that? And his answer was, he said it's all about a readiness.
Yeah, but nobody's readiness. It's not about anybody being ready, because nobody's ready. There isn't anyone that is ready, but readiness arises.
Do these meetings assist and facilitate the readiness? That wasn't a joke.
I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
Do these meetings assist and facilitate a readiness?
No, nothing facilitates anything. There's nothing that needs facilitating.
Can you assess people's readiness? It's not their readiness.
Yeah, you're a complete loser. No, not at all. Not at all, because there isn't anyone. No, there isn't anyone, so it would be impossible to measure anything. There's nobody here. So I don't see one person, oh, they're ready and they're ready, they're trying to... Got nothing to do with you. Nothing at all.
You have a new aim.
You know that, I've said that to you, Tony.
I love you so much, Tony.
Hello, Tony. Maybe I misheard, but did you use the word beloved? Because to me that's a tremendously beautiful word.
Yeah, I love that word.
But so it's very poetic, it just feels...
Some people connect the beloved with something religious or spiritual. It isn't at all. It's just a word that has come out, and it is all of this. Nothing is the beloved.
They're synonymous for you.
It was like when this was no more, and there was just, in other words, when the separation, or the apparent separation was no more, it was just that what was there was so beloved, so wow. It's the first time, then suddenly there was unconditional love, and unconditional love is stunning. It's stunning in the way it embraces and is all and everything, including terror and all of those.
How do you know this?
I don't. There's nothing that knows anything.
You speak about it.
I don't speak about it. Nothing is speaking. This is nothing speaking. And that's nothing asking.
Thank you.
Hey, Tom, how do we know if it's nothing speaking versus...
I don't know it's nothing speaking. It's nothing speaking.
versus ego of the mind? Versus the ego of the mind, how do we know? That
The mind with the ego is what's arising in the individual.
Tony, here. Is the observer part of the me?
No, the observer happens when the me is seeking. Self-observation or the witness or the watcher arises in seeking.
Hi, Tony. Nothing appears as everything.
Nothing is everything.
Nothing is everything.
There isn't a nothing, and then there's an appearance of everything. Nothing is everything.
At the same time. If there's time. And so this contracted energy sitting here, apparently sitting here, is experiencing, perceiving other contracted energy.
There's nothing in that form.
The tree, the nothing that appears in this form, in 1,000 forms, varieties, contracted.
Apparently,
other contracted energies. And yesterday, when you said there's boundless energy and there's contracted energy, which is
it's all
the same, or nothing. I was wondering if there's energy at all then.
Sorry?
If there even is energy at all.
No, not at all.
It's even that's nothing.
There's nothing.
What a relief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's why nothing that's said here needs to be understood at all. It's all absolute nonsense. It's of no value of any kind at all. There's no value in it.
Hello, Tony. I'm here.
Oh,
Sitting here.
are you there?
I'm still here. This war in the Ukraine just happens, apparently. But still, hundreds of thousands of human beings are suffering from it. They share this cruelty. Could you say something about that?
Only it's an appearance. It's nothing appearing as what it is. I did write about it in my last book, that somehow And this is only a feeling that arises here, and that is that the whole contracted energy is reaching a sort of crisis at the moment, a peak. And that's the world we see at the moment happening, or the apparent world, because none of it's real, it's an expression of that crisis. Using crisis, it tries everything it can to find what it longs for, and it can't find it, and it gets angrier and angrier. But it's only nothing appearing as that. It's the beloved, and therefore.
Thank you.
Hi, Tony. When Tony uses the word I ate breakfast, I got up. Can you talk about that? How is that?
It's just a figure of speech. If I spoke in true Advaita language, we'd be here for months.
What is that what's that response like if they
It's nothing responding. This is nothing responding.
No, but if someone says Tony, I will not turn around.
So if
someone called me Tony or John, I will not turn around. Like what makes
it's just intelligence arising. It's an intelligent functioning that seems to arise. Nobody does it.
And that intelligence, of course, is not individual.
No. Just a natural intelligence.
But it seems that apparently it's in a form, in a sense.
Only in a pattern form.
And it has its own function, no?
Apparently. Leaves on the trees are intelligence in that form.
Can you repeat it?
Or leaves on the trees. Oh. That's how the trees grow. It's meaningless.
It seems playful, no? It seems playful.
Label.
Playful, like playfulness.
Oh, playful, yeah. It is play. The whole thing is play.
Thank you.
She's the lady here.
So, Tony, you hold retreats, right?
No, I don't really. I mean, it's called a retreat. It's like me saying I. I don't like calling it a retreat. There's nothing to retreat from.
I get it, but definitely not clubbing. So is that also a preference coming?
Sorry?
Instead of going clubbing, it's retreat like this. Is that a preference in you, or is it where's that arising from?
Well, isn't it? It's all the same thing. Nobody's here. Nobody is here. People might think they've chosen to come here because they've heard how absolutely amazing Tony Parsons is, and of course that's absolutely right. But people come here. They think they come here and choose to come here for a reason. It's so sweet.
So of course we didn't choose. It all happened.
No, there isn't anyone. There's nobody in a nightclub.
So So the ego anyways is doomed then, because it's not happening really. I mean, ego thinks it's decided, but it has not.
I don't get on with that. Say that again.
So when our mind or ego thinks that I made the decision, it's not true.
No, you individuals live in the dream of I am and I choose, da-da-da. It's a dream, it's meaningless.
What's the difference when we know this intellectually, like what you're telling us?
Knowing this intellectually it's the same as not knowing it intellectually, it's meaningless. That's why what's going on here has got nothing to do with understanding logic or working something out or path through an understanding. This is energy arising. And this talking that we're not doing, this talking that's happening is a carry.
Tony, when I come to live meetings, the seriousness just seems to evaporate completely. And then when I go back home, things can feel serious again. Maybe less so than they did before, but still. But what I wanted to ask about is like the me's life. Well, I don't know how it is for every me, but it seems like it can be very dramatic.
Yeah, because you think you're special. I did. I thought Tony Parsons was one of the most important people, human beings on earth.
I still do think that about Tony Parsons. But the thing is, this last week, there was a glimpse, only 30 seconds or a minute, and then coming back after the glimpse, there was a couple of days of severe anxiety. But it wasn't anything mental or like any thinking around it. It was just purely the body was just in a state of anxiety for hours. So the drama of the me is purely an energetic thing.
Totally.
So the feeling that my life has meaning and purpose and stuff, it's nothing. Yeah. I've got another question, Tony. How is it that this message can just cut the seeking energy?
No, wait a minute, start again, sorry.
How is it that this message can just cut the seeking energy and make it sort of stop? When the seeking energy is getting full momentum, this message can just cut it immediately.
But it doesn't intentionally do that, that's what seems to happen. What seems to happen is that if this is in some way heard, everything else falls away. I mean, we had an amazing meeting a couple of weeks ago in London. You were there. It was really stunning, incredible. The energy here is like that. And we spent just an hour, an afternoon, and it was beautiful. It was incredible. But afterwards, nobody phoned or wrote or said anything because it was over. You know, there was nothing to say. Nobody rang up on Monday and said, "Oh, no," because it was so wow. There wasn't anything to say.
Is it because you haven't said? Well, I haven't heard you say this in years. But I've watched some of your older videos on YouTube, and you've referred to it as like checkmate.
Oh, checkmate, yeah.
Is that what you think? It's like kind of
checkmate.
You get to checkmate.
Yeah, it is checkmate.
Tony, and would you say also that while the me is going on and on and on and wants to keep striving and winning and getting ahead and all that stuff, really there's a longing to give up everything?
Yeah, but the me doesn't long to. The me is frightened of this. There is a longing, you could say, but the me doesn't directly long for this. It doesn't want to hear this message.
The longing's nothing to do with
The longing is just longing.
Okay.
Would you say this fear is just a kind of a reaction of the body?
The fear is
just a kind of a reaction of the body?
Yeah. Well, it's an energetic response to what seems to be happening.
Yeah, but there's nothing to fear of.
There's nothing.
There is nothing to fear of.
There is for the individual.
Yeah, but there is no such thing as an individual.
No. Well, okay. Sorry, what advice?
Yeah, when the world is super real, like you're so sucked into it.
I can't. There's nothing here that would give advice because who would he give it to?
So do we just remain trapped in that?
You don't. All there is what happens. Is that there is no one there that can choose for this to happen or that to happen. There is just life happening. There's no way. There is no how to.
But the life is too much in the background that time instead of the foreground. Like right now.
I don't quite know what that means. What do you mean by that?
What that means is like you said, right now we're checkmated, right? We can't say much. But when we walk into the world, in our jobs and everything, then we're completely like sucked in the...
You speak for you. That's how it is for you. When you move back into your normal life with work.
Right.
There's a lot of things. Well, that's life happening, but there's nothing that can be advised on it. There's nothing... There is no one that can do anything about life happening. But all that's being said here is that life happening is only an appearance.
He got it. He got it. So that, again, it comes to, there's nothing to do even in those circumstances when the...
There isn't anyone. And nothing's happening. This is nothing apparently happening.
Tony, could you please tell something about breathing?
Breathing?
Breathing, so...
Breathing is very important if you want to stay alive.
Yes, of course.
I think breathing is an excellent... when I was a seeker, I did rebirthing, which involved quite a lot of breathing. And I thought at the time that it was very important for me to learn how to breathe or what breathing was about. All that fell away, of course, when I was no more. But in the story, then breath is a very powerful and healing energy, but only in the story. It can be. And most people, which is what I learned, most people don't really breathe properly because when they're born, they try to inhibit their breath because they're frightened of what's going on. So they grow up, most people grow up not breathing in a round way. But that's something I learned when I was in rebirth.
And breathing in, breathing out, in the middle there's a kind of nothing going on, let's say. I don't have the right word for that, but there is a break or a stop, breathing in.
Well, there are many nuances to breath. Obviously, there are all sorts of religious ideas about breathing in one nostril and out of the other and all that. I only learned the basics, and that is breathing in a round way without an interruption is healthier.
Tony, I'm not sure. I've heard you speak before about a love affair, like when there's no longer that contraction, there's a love affair.
Well, I would say that what we call awakening, when separation collapses, falling in love is a very similar energy. Falling in love, even in the story, has a sort of similarity about it. It's like when you fall in love in the story and you think you're a real person, when falling in love happens, it's as though you are lost in what you're falling in love with. Not necessarily the person, but in love with falling in love. That was my memory of falling in love. I'm lost.
So
I had a friend of mine who was very sweet. He described falling in love with a girl in his school, and he used to walk up the road afterwards, a pathway, and he was almost beside himself, seeing that she was walking on the same path. It was that sort of gorgeous sort of adoration.
And that's almost like liberation.
Well, there is a sense of that in this, yeah. I mean, it's immeasurably different and deeper, but there is a sense of that.
Well, what I was going to ask is, like, the love affair in liberation, I know there's no one in it, but the love affair of liberation, or however I can say it, it's everything, the curtains, the floor. So there's nothing grander than anything else.
No. Everything is the below. For no one. There isn't anybody that experiences that. It just is that.
And that's why there can't be any more seeking, because there's nothing better
Of course not. No. Because there is only nothing and everything. There isn't anybody in nothing and everything. There is only nothing. There isn't anything here that's nothing and everything. There's just nothing and everything. That's why it can't be described. That's why people would say to me, I can't tell you what this is. It's impossible.
The DNA of Putin is more love for you instead of the curtain.
No. It's all one.
You talk about the preferences.
Do I what?
You talk about having preferences, that you have preferences.
I don't have anything. There is nothing here. But preferences arrive.
Okay. So how do we know when it's preferences?
You don't know.
Arising? Nothing.
There is no knowing.
So when you picked up your socks,
I didn't pick it up.
it just happened.
You're not asking that question. It's just happening.
Okay. All just happened. All.
Apparently.
All. All. Tell me, why does it suddenly stop?
Sorry?
Why does it suddenly stop?
There's no reason for anything. Everything is completely without meaning or purpose.
When we learn this, it's almost like things just pause then, right?
No, say that again. I didn't hear it.
Once this establishes that it's all happening.
Starvation. Did you say?
Establishes. Meaning.
Oh, salvation. Oh.
Like checkmated.
I don't know. No, that checkmate has got nothing to do with salvation.
I did not say salvation. I say when it gets established.
Oh, established. But nothing gets established. There's nothing to get established. Everything already is. I don't understand what you're talking about.
When you explain that this is all happening, then suddenly there's silence and everything pauses, right? Suddenly there are no more questions once it's all happening. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I don't know where you're getting. I'm not sure I'm with you at all, actually.
Let me try another way. Is once everything is just happening, right? It's nobody doing it.
But that's all there is.
Yeah. But once you speak about it, then suddenly there's a lot of silence and everything kind of pauses.
Who thinks about it?
You can see it in the room, right? Then suddenly there are no questions.
I don't think I really understand where you're getting at all. It feels like to me you're talking about something that's happening to people.
Yeah, I think I know the answer already.
Oh, the answer to what?
So this energetic part is also nothing. The energetic part.
The answer to...
The energetic is also nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everything is...
There is only nothing.
Yeah, and everything is unconditional love, yes.
Tony, what is belief?
What is...
Belief.
Oh, it's a part of the what arises in the individual. When individuality takes form, it's felt as though it's real, and then it grows up and learns to live in the world, and comes to believe that certain things will help it have better experiences. So it's a sort of intellectual understanding and investment in the idea of doing something to have a better experience or to take advantage of something. It's part of the individual structure. It's an individual experience to believe.
And would you say that awareness and knowing are of the same function?
Oh, awareness and knowing simply feed the seeking energy. Because, of course, awareness reinforces a sense of separation. I'm sitting here and I'm aware of you sitting over there. So I must be a separate thing to that. Even I am aware sitting on this chair is a form of separation. Because it establishes the idea of there being an I that can know something that is sitting on a chair. And it's the same with consciousness. Awareness and consciousness are other words for knowing. I know.
Does knowing take place without a knower?
Sorry?
Does knowing take place without a knower?
Is there a place without a knower?
Does knowing take place without a knower?
No, there has to be a knower to know something.
So knowing strawberry jam is not happening.
Knowing is part of the sense of separation.
And knowing preferences?
It has preferences. There can. Well, I don't know that the knower doesn't. Well, obviously the individual has preferences, but knowing, I don't know that preferences influence knowing much. Knowing is more logical process.
Okay, thanks. Would you say there's a difference between knowing and resonance, Tony?
Between
knowing.
Totally. Knowing is an action that individuals apparently take. Resonance has got nothing to do with anyone. It's just it doesn't happen to a person, but there can be a sense, a resonance about something, which is not logical.
And then it's possible for the person to jump in afterwards and claim it as a knowing.
Yeah. The me will do anything to possess what it can.
Tony, I don't think this is a question, but I want to share something. This is just complete freedom, what's being shared.
This is what?
Just complete freedom, what's being shared.
Well, yeah. I don't know about the sharing bit, but yeah.
Well, maybe this is a hope of something good for me, but it seems that because the individual lives by all these rules about how it's got to behave in order to be acceptable and get its life to work, they start to get dismantled here. Listening to this, those rules get dismantled. I've got to be this kind of person and do this, and it just wipes the floor clean.
Everything collapses, yeah.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
It's dangerous for the individual. It's dangerous for the individual. It's a killer. It's the
I feel like I can't express enough gratitude to you.
Oh, not to me. How can it be to me? Too.
Living in the dream, we said we are like dreaming, no? And we believe this dream, and being conscious that you're living in a dream at the end is the same.
It is, yeah. There can be an understanding or a consciousness or a knowing I'm living in a dream, but it's still only information.
Thank you. It's so frustrating. I feel so powerless.
It's awful.
I'm very angry.
It's really awful. There are many people that know and understand what we're talking about here, but there are people who know and understand what we're talking about.
You said before, like, the individual's kind of half alive, and it almost feels like the experience of the person is, I can't get, too excited, I can't feel too sad, it's always trying to rein itself in.
Well, it doesn't do that, but it is reined in.
Yeah.
It's living in its little dream.
So, like, when I'm laughing at something, I can't get too excited, or when I'm feeling sad, I can't feel too upset. It's always like, just got to manage it so it's within the right parameters. So it's not
conditioned.
It's almost like a fear, do you think, that it could get lost in that, like if it's too much excitement or too much sadness or too much whatever it is, that could just take over. I don't know if that makes sense, what I'm sharing, but that's how it feels to me. It's almost like regramming itself.
It's almost like
regrounding itself to bring itself back to itself so it knows it's there.
It's in a prison. With no bars. But it is the beloved. It's not a separate, there aren't any enemies. It's the beloved. And it's also lunchtime. Yay!